Hello everyone. Now, in the last session of microprocessor and microcontroller, we have completed our first part of unit 2, that is architecture and pin diagram and memory interfacing of 8085 microprocessor. Right now, in this session, we are going to start with a new topic of unit 2, that is microcontroller 8051. Right, again in this also we will discuss about its architecture, right, its various functionalities and its pin diagram. Clear? Right, so in today's session we are going to discuss, that is, what is first of all microcontroller 8051. Right, now the topics to be covered in this following session, that will be a history of microcontroller, types of microcontroller, types of architectures, basic architecture of microcontroller, what are the features of 8051 microcontroller, and how to choose a microcontroller, what are the different criteria to choose a microcontroller. Clear? Now, first of all, going to with first topic, that is history of microcontroller. So, a self-contained system processor in which processor is support memory processor supports memory and input output device are contained in a single package. So as we have discussed in unit 1 also, right, and in unit 2 also, that difference between processor and controller. So what is the first of all controller is, so controller itself contains a processor, right, then it supports memory and input output device, which are all contained or embedded on a single chip, or we can say single package. A small computer system on a single IC. So we can say that it is a small microcomputer system which is implemented on a single integrated circuit, which is IC. Right, now the first microcontroller that was made in 1975 have a name Intel 8048. Right, the introduction of EEPROM in 1993 allowed microcontrollers to be electrically erased. Right, now as we all know that in microcontrollers it supports memory, inbuilt memory, so it will have a ROM and RAM in the IC itself. Right, but the first introduction of EEPROM stands for electrically erased programmable read-only memory, right, such that the read-only memory can be erased with the help of only delete and erased matter. Right, the same year Atmel introduced the first controller using a flash memory. Right, so these are the history of microcontroller. Now, what are the basic types of microcontroller? So basically the microcontroller are divided or classified on the basis of number of bits, number of memory or devices, instruction set, and memory architecture. Now, bits, as in it we have a 4 bits, 8 bit, 16 bit, or 32 bit. Right, so if it is a 4 bit, 8 bit, 16 bit, or 32, what does it means? It access or it transmit or receives data 8 bit or 4 bit simultaneously if it is a 8 bit microcontroller or a 4 bit microcontroller. Right, the microcontroller which we are going to study, which is 8051, that is a 8 bit microcontroller. Clear? So based on bits, that how many data bits can be transferred at a received at a time, depend on this controller has been divided. Now second, that is memory or devices. So either it is connected embedded device, or either it is a external device. That means in terms of memory, that is memory is embedded in the single chip itself, or external memory can also be connected to the microcontroller. Yeah, so based on this memory, these two are the classifications. Now third, that is family. So based on different companies have a different families. Let's say 8051, which we are going to study. So 8051 IC, that is given by Intel, Atmel, Delas, Philips, and Siemens. Similarly, there are same way the various RCICs, that is Motorola, Peak Controller, Texas, National, ARM, and others. Clear? So based on this family, which company is going to make or produce this controller based on their features? That means it depends on the name of their family. Then fourth, that is instruction set. Now, depends on instruction set, it is divided into two types, that is CISC and RISC. Now, what does the CISC means? The CISC means complex instruction set computers. That means these controllers which are having a CISC type of architecture will have a less number of instructions, clear, to operate it, whereas our RISC, that is reduce instruction set computers, right? So this will have a number of we can say instructions, but in this what else it is, that data bus will be, and data bus and program bus will be separated. And last, due to for the memory architecture, so based on memory architecture there are two ways, that is Princeton and Harvard. Princeton is also called as von Neumann architecture. In von Neumann architecture, what does it happens? That means the data memory and the program memory have the different, not different, but the same data bus, same address data bus, system bus, right? Whereas in Harvard architecture, the data bus and the data memory and the program memory are the different. Clear, right? This we will go to see in detail. Now, next, that is types of architecture, which we have discussed right now just. That is von Neumann architecture or Harvard architecture. Von Neumann architecture is also called as Princeton architecture. Now, what is the characteristics of von Neumann architecture? So, only one bus, used for both data transfer and instruction fetches, and cannot be performed at the same time. Clear? So, you can have the data based on it cannot be have performed at the same time. Whereas what is Harvard architecture? The Harvard architecture has separate data and address buses for the program and data memory both. So at the same time, data and program memory can be accessed separately, right? So transfers to be programmed simultaneously on the both buses. Now, this is the basic architecture of microcontroller. Now, as you can see, this is a single IC in which different components are embedded in a single package, right? Whereas the main is in the between, that is the brain of the controller, that is a processor, right? With the processor, various features are connected, such as memory, that is RAM, ROM, right? Then timers, input output ports. There are three input output ports, A, B, and C. For serial communication, it is serial ports. Then ADC, that is analog to digital converter. If the data is in analog form, then it will convert it into digital form, right? And the watchdog timer. What does the watchdog timer do? So watchdog timer will help whenever there will be a multitasking processor in which the processor cannot handle its multitasking and gone into a hanged position. At that time, watchdog timer will be activated, right? So this is the basic architecture of microcontroller. These many components and various peripherals are connected to the CPU in a single chip. Clear? Now, what are the features of 8051 microcontroller? So, first of all, the 8051 microcontroller, that is a 8-bit controller, right? That means the data bus and data bus is 8-bit, so it can transfer 8-bit data simultaneously with the parallel field. Clear? Now, the 8-bit CPU with registers A and B. So it has 8-bit CPU will having a two general purpose register, which is A and B. Then it will have an internal ROM, right? It will have a 16-bit program counter and data pointer, right? That is DPTR, right? Where the address point outs the data. Then internal RAM of 128 bytes. Then 8-bit program status for that is PSW, that is nothing but our flag register, which we have discussed in our 8085, right? Then it will have a two 16-bit counters and timers, right? Then four 8-bit ports, right? Then three internal interrupts and two external interrupts, that is total 5 interrupts. Then it will have a control register, and for a processor it will have a oscillator and clock circuits, right? So these are the various features of 8051. Another features are, it is having a 4 KB of on-chip program ROM, right? The data memory is different and the program memory is different, so it will forward a Harvard architecture. 16-bit address bus multiplexed with port 0 and port 2, right? The 16 bus it is at port 0 and port 2. Then 32 bidirectional IO lines, that means it will have a 4 ports having 8 lines each, so it will have a 32 bidirectional input output lines and can be either used as a 8-bit ports. Then serial data receiver and transmitter. For serial communication, it will have a serial data receiver and serial transmitter. And last, that is interrupt sources. Clear? So these are the various features which we are going, in which our 8051 controller works. Now, what are the different criteria to choose a microcontroller, right? So here there are the various criteria listed in this, where we need to choose a microcontroller. So first, that is that is a make a list of required hardware interface. Now, what does it means? So whenever whatever of for application you are choosing the microcontroller, what you need to do is you need to just find out, or make a list that how many hardwares or which are the hardwares required for that particular application, right? So first of all, to choose a microcontroller, first criteria, that is you have to make a list of required hardware as per the application in which you want to design, right? Second, that is examine the software architecture. What you need to do is, once you have listed out the hardware interface, right, and then second, what you have to do is on which software that particular hardware interface will work, right? So that particular software architecture you need to study, like before going to choose the microcontroller, either it is compatible with that microcontroller or not, right? That is all that will all come under the examination of software architecture. Then second, third, that is select the architecture. Select the architecture, that means either it will be a von Neumann architecture or it will be a Harvard architecture, right? That means the data buses and address buses will be separate or it will be a same, right? So based on this, you will have to find out, that is select the architecture. Then fourth, that is identify memory needs. Now this is the most important point from the application point of view. Why? Because you know that whatever application you are going to design for this microcontroller, you have know that what is the memory needed for that, how much data will be stored in that particular memory. So we need to choose that microcontroller in which that memory has been already interfaced on that particular single IC, right? So there will be a no need of external memory to be connected. Clear? So this is the most important point to choose the microcontroller, that is how much memory will need in this particular application, for this particular application. Now, once you have find out these 4 steps, what you need to do is start searching for microcontrollers. So once you know that what are the hardware interfaces, right? That means, let's say if I am making an GPS module, then I should choose a microcontroller which have a GPS module inbuilt. So the GPS module, that is nothing but the hardware interface, right? For GPS model, what it will require, Ethernet cable. So the Ethernet will is one of the hardware interface. So this hardware interface, once you list out the software, you find out, select the architecture, and after what, how much memory you will need for that storage, what you need to go based on this 4 criteria which you have listed out, you have to start searching for the microcontrollers, which are the best microcontrollers which will fulfill your these needs, right? After searching that microcontroller, there are multiple microcontrollers, right? So what you need to do is, you need to find out particular cost and power constraint, right? So if it is possible that microcontrollers you need that is the best, but it may possible that the power consumption is very high. Yeah, so you need to choose that particular microcontroller such that the cost is also less or liable, right? And also the power constraint are also less, right? Then next, that is check part availability. Check part availability, that means if in future any part, if there is any part which you want to have it, right? So in future, either it is available or not, what is are the future requirements of this particular microcontroller, right? So that you have to check. Now select a development kit, right? On which development kit you will perform the, or you will implement this whole application, you need to select a development kit, right, in which your application will be developed. Now investigate compilers and tools, right? The whatever the software architecture we are need to choose over here, that is compatible with that microcontroller, and if it is compatible, which type of compilers are using in the backend of that microcontroller for compilation purpose, and what are the various tools which we require for that application, right? And after doing this much, find out a criteria or selection of this microcontroller, last is you need to start experimenting, right? So you need to, what you need to do is you need to just implement your applications on that particular hardware on which the controller which it is embedded, right? And then you need to write the program and then need to run it or compile it. Clear? So these are the various criteria to choose for the microcontroller, right? Now in the next session we are going to discuss that is architecture of 8051 and pin diagram of 8051, right? So that's all for today's session. Thank you.